It is 5:30. Welcome to everyone to the City Council meeting of Thursday, July 17th, 2025. The Opens Meeting Act is posted on the east wall of the council chambers, and a notice of this meeting was published in the York News Times on July 10th, 2025. If you would please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amanda, the roll call.
North.
Here.
Shepherd. Here. Postier.
Here.
Wilkinson.
Here.
Van Esch.
Here.
Piper.
Here.
McGregor. Northrop.
Here.
You were all sent the minutes of the July 3rd, 2025
Yes.
meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes?
I move for approval. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Amanda?
North.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Postier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Van Esch.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
Northrop.
Yes.
Next are claims of elected officials.
We only have one claim of elected official, and it's Tony North of North Printing and Office Supply in the amount of $907.55. I'd move for approval.
Second.
Amanda?
North.
Abstain.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Postier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Van Esch.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
Northrop.
Yes.
Next are the claims for the period of July 4th through July 17th, 2025.
The Finance Committee did meet yesterday to review those claims, and I'd move for approval for the claims of the period of July 4th through July 17th, 2025.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further questions of the Finance Committee? Hearing none. Amanda?
North.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Postier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Van Esch.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
Northrop.
Yes.
You were also sent the department activity reports for the month of June 2025. Are there any questions of staff on those?
Move for approval. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further comment? Amanda?
North.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Postier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Van Esch.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
Northrop.
Yes.
And we also need to approve the cash balances for the month of June 2025.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Amanda?
North.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Postier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Van Esch.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
Northrop.
Yes.
City Administrator Report. Dr. Crawford.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. My first update is about the comprehensive plan update. So we had meetings in June and had a great turnout. The consultants put together a summary of those comments. Those are posted on our website, and also I sent a copy of those comments back to everyone who participated in those meetings so they could see what was gathered. The next step is here in July, the stakeholder group will meet by Zoom to talk about those results and talk about goals. We also have gone through the goals from 2017 and identified things that we have accomplished on those goals and which goals we don't have anything to say we've done on yet. And so that will be distributed to the stakeholders, and I sent a copy to you as well. Anybody else who wants to see a copy of that is welcome to ask for a copy of that as well. So they will be talking the next step, thinking about goals and priorities. And then in September, the consultants will be back in town again, and expect to have more public conversations then, including some students that we weren't able to include last time because it wasn't school, and Hispanic population. And we expect some of the focus in September to be landscape oriented. So you can start dreaming, scheming, like the space kind here where the building's coming down, space around the library, parking lots, corridors. Like, have your eyes open to public spaces that you think make sense for us to be thinking about as priorities for the future in terms of land use and planning. That's the comprehensive planning update.
Very good.
Yeah, I'll stop there.
Thank you very much. Our next agenda item is retail coach update. Nick, Kyle, the microphone is yours. If you would both please state your name and address for the record, and then, welcome.
Mayor, it's good to be back. I'm Kyle Kofer with the Retail Coach. This is Nick Albrecht. We are both kind of your primary points of contact here, and It's good to be back. I think we were here in February, and it's hard to believe that we're 5-6 months into this project already. For those of you that don't know, we are a retail recruitment firm. We've been working, here 5 to 6 months with the main goal to recruit retail. So what we consider retail is restaurants, soft goods clothing, hospitality, grocery, and family entertainment. So those are the type concepts that we're looking to bring into the market. So this is our second visit here, and I'll tell you, it's good to be back. We got in earlier today, spent some time meeting with some local property owners. In that first visit, we did the same. We spent probably 2-3 hours meeting with what we consider stakeholders, some council members as well. Really getting a better idea of what local individuals want to see in this market. What are the missing gaps? So our approach is targeted. So we go after prospects that this group wants to see, that community members want to see. We even actually put out a survey probably a month or so back. And it's really good to see, you hear what people want, is it casual sit-down restaurants, is it clothing stores and things, but actually being able to dive into that survey is super beneficial. But kind of a little bit about, our process and how it works. So, retail recruitment is extremely data-driven in 2025. So we have to know, how do we sell this market through the eyes, of a retailer. So you're a community population of about 8,400. But when we dive into what we consider your retail trade area of where you pull consumers from, you're just shy of 30,000 at 28 to 29. So this is who you're pulling, where you're pulling in from on a regular basis, and that's what we're marketing to these prospects. So, coming in on the recruitment side, I think we couldn't have a better opportunity. The city did a lot of work on the front end with Seven Brew and Freddy's, and we're able to utilize that as, two dominoes on the marketing side for us. Retail recruitment, all these concepts, they want to know what's going on the residential side, who else is interested. And, another thing about this market that gets us really excited is the availability of property for development. A lot of times small markets are built out to where we have to focus on redevelopment opportunities. That's not the case here. So we've got a lot to work with. We've had a lot of good feedback on, the upfront, the first 5 or 6 months. We actually went to ICSC Las Vegas in May. It's something that, we'll continue to talk about, or maybe the city to join us next year. We had 6 meetings out there with retailers. Some that went really well, and some that we're continuing to follow up with and work through. So overall, just feel really, really good about where things stand in this market on the front end. Retail recruitment is a long-term process. It doesn't happen overnight. It's an 18 to 24 month deal these days. So, in 5 to 6 months, we have 2 wins that I think we will be able to announce here in the next 3 to 4 months. These two are very serious, submitted LOIs and spaces, just trying to work through a few things. One of these is a store that is dealing with some tariffs right now, kind of have things on pause a little bit, but they've told us for quite a while, hey, this is some space that we're interested in. So doing that, also working with a pizza concept that's showing a lot of interest there, just continue to facilitate what they need. And then also part of retail recruitment, we work on developers as well. I think one of the major missing gaps in this market is a junior box development with some of these, clothing retailers, and then, more fast casual sit-down restaurants that follow that. We're starting to see a lot of these concepts open in smaller markets. So developer recruitment is something that we're focused on as well. And then also a few other concepts too. We've had some no's, but no's in this business, that could change in 6 months as site criteria continues to change. So we're continuing to facilitate and follow up with all these leads, all these prospects that we're going after. We have monthly update calls with city staff. really a good team in line with, you know, the mayor, Sue, Lisa, Madonna. We continue to kind of work through what's going on locally. For us to be successful, it's gotta be a team approach. There's things that are changing in the market, you know, site availability and things. You know, the Dollar Tree, that's a site that's gonna be available, you know, here pretty soon. How do we work to get ahead of that to find a user? So it's been really, really good working with our team here and, you know, moving forward, we foresee, you know, wins in the upcoming months and just continuing to push some of these deals through. So I wanted to kind of keep it, you know, nice and short for today, give everybody some insight of what we're working on. Be happy to answer a question or two if anybody has one.
And we had great input on the survey. And
Yeah.
I thought that was really impressive.
How many responses was it?
It was like 1,500.
1,500?
200 students. So.
Yeah, I was blown away at the responses because I'll tell you this, in a lot of markets, we send those surveys out and we might have 40 or 50 responses where you don't have a pool where you can actually, you know, work from. But I was very impressed, and you know, we take that into consideration because, like I said, our recruitment is targeted. We want to go after prospects that, you know, community members, council members would be excited about.
On that note, I was curious, on the 30,000 you say we're pulling, is that the primary focus of just the people that live here or work here or come here or is there a travel,
Good question.
tourism, interstate business as well?
Good question. So we run what we call cell phone analysis. It's like mobile location data.
Yeah.
So basically, we're able to pinpoint, you know, retailers and restaurants throughout the market. And what that allows us to do, it's a little Big Brothers, but we're able to see, you know, how many visitors come to that specific location and where they come from. So it determines a home location based on where a device spends its time from roughly 8 p.m. you know, to 6 a.m. So it shows that on a heat map, and we go in and customize that boundary based on actual visitors to your market, what we consider your primary retail trader. And I would be happy, I can drop a card off to you, and I'd be happy to send you, you know, the data and that primary boundary map to where you can look at that. But
So they could be off the interstate just here for a few hours.
Yeah.
Included in that market.
yeah, but that's, you know, it's really a more accurate representation of your market. You know, we rarely rely on community population numbers.
Okay.
Because, you know, you have people coming in here to work, and, you know, that's not accounted for. You know, this 28,000 is a much more accurate number than, you know, just that 8,400 community population.
Which would diversify what we need as a.
Exactly, and it increases your opportunity. So I always say if you're marketing your community just based on your population, you're selling yourself way short. And I think that's some of the information that, you know, is getting the interest of some of these retailers and restaurants. And my main goal is to make the decision maker's job as easy as possible. We want to get them the sites, the data, the market information that fits what they need to make their decision as quickly as they can.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are you seeing more, are you still seeing a hindrance for our area, the labor shortage? Is this something that the people that you're talking to, are they not worried about that? They have plans, they've got things, or is this still kind of a hang up?
So we were actually talking about that earlier. I've been in my position for 10 years. I have never seen a deal fall through with a national credit tenant due to labor force issues. I've never seen it. And the CEO of our company says that, you know, he hasn't seen it since we've been a company for 25 years. That has never been the primary factor, determining factor of why prospects walked away.
Seven Brew hired 40 people.
Unbelievable.
Plus.
Yeah, and look, you can find it. And, you know, we drove around and watched that, you know, line wrapped around Seven Brew. Like, the demand is there. And especially on the restaurant side. I mean, we're seeing that make up 60 to 70% of the expansion. You know, as property costs increases, development costs, what these restaurants and a lot of these larger retailers are doing is they're shrinking their store format. You know, Scooters is a primary example, Seven Brew, you know, they're almost these kiosk type locations, and allows them to go on, you know, smaller pieces of land that, you know, wouldn't be a fit. It's the same thing with, you know, a breakfast user that we're working with. They typically would do 4,000 square foot locations, standalone, ground up development. Now they're looking at, you know, 1,800 square feet, 2,000, and they can go inline. It's all about being flexible to make deals work in 2025.
So as you're looking and looking to in the community, are you looking at infrastructure stuff that the city can do to improve on some of that stuff? Like you're talking with developers and larger ones for those retail establishments that just want the box already built. But is there anything from like a physical infrastructure that the city needs to be looking at out and about, whether it's in that area or in other parts of the community that might be something to look at in the next couple of years?
Yeah, we really haven't gotten really deep into that yet, and it hasn't come up. You know, something we can put on our radar that we can kind of take a closer look at what we consider more a highest and best use analysis from that standpoint, because the growth is coming, there's no doubt about it, and just making sure that you know, it's prepared, planned growth, and the right steps are in place for that. So that can be something we put a focus on.
More questions, council?
We're off to a good start.
Yeah, no,
promising.
look, we really are, and I told y'all this the first time we were here, and you know, we pulled in and checked the market out ahead of time. There's a lot of opportunity here. There's a lot of interest, and you know, it's not an overnight process. We just continue to move that ball forward. So we appreciate it and you know, value this relationship.
Hey, thanks for taking the time to come back.
Appreciate
Thank
it,
you.
guys. Thank you.
Next is consider approval of a national functional classification routes within the York urban area boundary for the state of Nebraska. James, I hope you're going to address this.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yep. So we received a national functional classification of some streets and roads within our urban area boundary, which is the boundary that is created through the Census Bureau. So it more than encompasses the local corporate boundary of the city, because they count those little, I guess, the streets that lead to, for instance, if you look at 25th Street and then you have the airport there off of Highway 34, so they have a corridor that's included there. So it doesn't necessarily just encompass the local corporate boundary, it includes a little bit more. So there's 3 levels of functional classification. It'd be national, state, and local. So within some of those, the classifications of the streets are different than what we would consider them local. I did call up the employee at the state that sent this out for review, had a few questions back and forth. She answered them all for me. Like for instance, I had questions on why 35th Street is considered a collector versus David Drive. And the answer was that 35th Street actually is a collector because it goes out into the county and it collects and brings people in that way. Because you know the definition of a collector, it's usually in a commercial area, shopping center, and it brings people into that. So just had a few questions around those areas, and 50th Street, that was the same definition she gave me for that. So because it brings people in from out in the county area. So I was good after the discussion with her and reviewing the different classifications. I was good with how the map looked, and brought it to council for approval because that's part of the process with this national functional classification.
Very good, thank you. Any other questions of James?
Well, did anything change?
Nothing changed.
Okay.
I did not change anything on there. No, I just had a few questions on some of the collectors and minor or other arterials.
So what does that mean? If this is a minor arterial and not a major or not labeled at all, what is, do we get funding for those?
Different grant based on collectors or anything?
No, it's just how it's classified. So like your main artery going through, obviously, and then your, because as you can see, the bypass actually falls outside except for right there. So, no. They cut, this comes out from what the employee, the person I had that conversation with, this comes around for approval every 10 years. And, you know, if we have an argument whether, you know, there's other collectors, she said, well, you can make that argument, but they have identified the roads that they feel fit the national functional classification for us.
What would be the difference if you wanted another collector? What, just for the labeling purposes?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I asked her that question. She
it
goes,
seems pretty
"Yeah,
captain obvious to me, but it's just kind of like, why are we doing, what's the whole point? I guess?
Right.
Yeah.
It's just,
So I'm surprised.
they have to have something for the
They gotta
Census
have
Bureau.
Yeah. So I was surprised like 12th Street, you know, coming in from the county going to the ballparks and the swimming pool.
I thought that would've been a collector.
Would have collected too, but I mean, I guess I don't care.
Doesn't
if it is or not.
Yeah, so yes, I did not get any information that stated that we needed to add more or take away or change.
I'd rather not go through the paperwork.
Yeah, I'm not sure what paperwork.
Right.
Just making on that, so. And then this will also, like on the sign-off page, I believe this also goes to the county as well for their approval, because there are some, the county receives a map similar to that as well.
Looks great.
So we would need to approve this.
I'll second Tony's motion.
I have a motion and a second. Anyone else like to comment on this? Hearing none, Amanda?
North.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Postier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Van Esch.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
Northrop. Yes.
Next, consider approval of resolution 2025-14 to declare certain city property surplus and authorize disposition of that surplus property. What are we disposing of?
Library books and pickup hopper, huh?
There you go.
Quarterly cleanup.
Quarterly cleanup, okay.
Move for approval. Second.
Motion and a second. Amanda?
North.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Postier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Van Esch.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
Northrop. Yes.
We have a couple readings to end this agenda, and the first one is the second reading of ordinance number 2397 to amend chapter 34, article 5, assemblies, parades, and processions to provide for special events. So we did read this the first time. I guess, has anybody had any comments or anyone like to add anything to this? We're changing the way that we do this, so I think our idea was to read it 3 times.
There is one area I thought we might want to consider clarifying a little bit. On the second page, we set out the standards for the clerk to follow to decide whether or not to issue a permit. After those, top of the next page, we don't really specify what the clerk is to do if all those standards are not met. So I think maybe we might want to change that next sentence that says applications for permits that do not meet all of these standards shall be denied by the city clerk. So it's clear that she's to deny it if they don't meet all those standards.
Is that sentence implying that it goes to the council if it doesn't meet all those standards?
Yeah, and I don't know that we want to do that because we do provide in the next sentence that the applicant may request a review by the council if it's denied. So since the applicant does have the right to request a review, I don't know that we need to automatically have the council renew it. So I'm thinking just change that second sentence to provide,
Yeah, and then delete the council part, or
Right.
on the top part and leave it on the
Right,
second.
and we can make that change and then review it again at third reading,
Okay.
if that's agreeable.
Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
I think that cleans that up
Yeah,
and kind of creates the steps.
right.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Would anyone else like to speak to this matter at this time? Council, do you have any more comments?
I guess the only question I would have is that number 7 as a reason for denial. If a private business is wanting to have an event, that would be an automatic reason for denial. Instead of the
If
council.
it's for profit.
If it's for-profit private event, we're
Right.
automatically denying all events for that.
Right. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't decide that a permit should be issued, but it would
Yeah.
then come before the council.
So it would just be a notice that's being denied as, like the standard one, you just need to take it to the council.
And the council would have to approve it.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, closing down a street for a street dance that was run by somebody that, you know, that way it'd get a little, it would just get a bigger authority and be approved by you guys or by the council.
Don't make Amanda look like the bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, don't put that on her, put it on you.
That's a denial.
I mean, it's not to say that we won't do it or that you wouldn't
Right.
do it, it just, that shouldn't have to be, that shouldn't be on her. Any other comments? Hearing none, we will consider that second reading of ordinance number 2397. Next is the first reading of ordinance number 2398 to amend chapter 28 to enact ordinances to provide regulations and requirements for mobile vendors, including food trucks. Would anybody, I know the ordinance committee has worked hard on this discussion quite a bit and wanted to bring this. You guys have had many conversations, I think. So I think, you know, the idea of bringing it to first reading is a good idea and moving it along, so.
Well, we took some advice, from J-Dub and other folks, just to try to keep it simple. We don't want to restrict, we don't want to inhibit it, we want to encourage it. But it's that idea of naming a responsible party, being able to get a hold of somebody if something goes wrong, so. It's pretty simple, it is way torn down compared to other.
Right. And I mean, I think it's important we know who's here and we know how to get a hold of them and we know what's going on.
But again, there's just.
But not be
there's
restrictive.
so many different things to think about, that's why we want to do this process again.
I think it's a great start. I mean, and it's not super over repressive.
Yeah.
It lists the things that businesses are supposed to have, no matter what, so that protects the consumer and protects everybody paying taxes, it's just like every other business in town. So it's a good start that the city's being diligent about letting who's in here do what they're doing.
Yeah.
And the insurance thing, I think, is a big issue as well, that let people know they have to have it. And that way our citizens know that they have it as well, and they have to be afraid of them or whatever on that part. So, yeah, I thought it was really good. I thought you did a good job on this, so. We can always, some place to start and then we can always.
Yeah, I mean, if something changes or things, but, right.
Yeah, if we find something.
Does anybody else like to speak to this or comment? I think let's,
Oh, sure, yeah.
I think Charlie has one thing to
Okay.
comment on.
All right, it was brought up before the meeting that we've got an exception to the permit requirement for persons who obtain a special event permit from the city. We might also want to include other entities like the school, the county that operate within the city that authorize activities, authorize mobile vendors as well. Exempt
county
them
there.
also.
Yeah.
I guess what was the ordinance committee's thought process on exempting those? I mean, if we're gonna have food trucks, whether it's for a single event or, York Fest or the county fair, if we're wanting to get the information on sales tax and insurance, why does it matter that it's at a specific event, I guess?
I suppose that when you're gonna be dealing with them, and so we kind of assume that, not that you're gonna check all that stuff, same stuff, but at least there is a responsible party there that we're pointing to, which would be Madonna, on that type of thing. So I would imagine most of these are gonna already be signed up with the city anyway.
They'll get their yearly permit.
Yeah.
And like the county fair, our city police go in and police with the sheriff, but as far as us knowing who the vendors are, the fair is responsible for bringing them in and they have their own set of rules. So why do we have to get in the middle of that? Because we're gonna contact them and say, this vendor, and they should have all that information.
So if you want, we can add that clause to this, and then when it it comes on for second reading, that change will be in there to authorize exceptions for
Could that,
vendors that are authorized by other public entities.
yeah, or could you have it where it's a location could have a one permit for any food trucks that they have on their property or for their event? So that way we have that contact person. So in the case of the York Fest, we'd have the contact there. If it's the hospital, they could say, we want to apply for our permit. So we have our contact person, but that way it applies for any food truck that's on their property. The school does it, the county, that way you're not having to worry about whether it's a public entity or is it the
Yeah.
hospital versus.
Yeah, we'd have to figure out how to do that then, if it's private entities.
The private
like
entity
York
hosting
Fest.
theirs.
Yeah, I'm not sure how we word that, we'll have to kick that around, see what we can.
Yeah, 'cause I know that's one I'm thinking, that's a regular, would be the hospital, it's not a public entity, but they're regularly having something there, so do we want the food truck to be the one that has to get it each time, or can the hospital just say, we're gonna have one on a weekly basis, we wanna just get one permit?
Can I comment?
Yeah.
I don't know that you want to go location specific, more so event specific. Because maybe York Fest might shift 8 blocks over or something next time. So I think you want to keep your language broad enough to account for that change. Like the York County kids are having food trucks Saturday. That's what they're doing. So, but if they want to do it not on the courthouse lawn next year, and they want to do it out at Holtus, it would be event specific, not necessarily location specific, but they're still your point individuals for that particular event. So keeping your language probably broad enough to allow, otherwise they're going to be stuck at a certain location.
I think it's a good point.
There's, I would say the public versus private is also, the hospital is a private entity. And
They're exempt anyway,
Yeah.
aren't they, from this? I mean, if you're allowing us on your private, but if it's open to the public,
Open to public.
okay, that's the kicker, yeah.
Right.
No, I get it.
If anybody can drive by.
But
I mean, they're doing it for their place, but anybody can go
Yeah,
there.
they can do it.
Yeah.
I think there's another entrepreneur who's thinking about regularly having them on their private property. That's, so if you give the hospital exception to this regular, then just this
At some
group
point,
an
the whole point's
exception.
about tracking that.
I don't know that that's a great idea, because if why is the hospital citing that the food truck has their tax permit and I don't think that's, I think that's involving that entity in a bad light. I mean, they let the food truck speak for themselves, and if they want to get on that, they gotta come in, just like any other food truck in the city.
Would you think the same for the York Fest and the fair and those kind of organizations?
Not necessarily of those, because it's an event.
Okay.
Yeah, but on
Oh,
property.
annual event.
Yeah, it's an annual event where it's probably the same.
But if it's a weekly thing like that, I would agree, that just seems like it's logically fitting in.
Yeah.
Whether it's the hospital or a vacant lot 2 blocks over that somebody
Because then
owns.
that's not saying that the hospital's checking their permits
No.
and their.
But they should
sales tax.
those should come through us.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think so too.
Now, are we doing like a daily fee and then a monthly and then a yearly?
Yeah.
Is that, okay.
We're gonna have to amend that
Yeah.
ordinance that we just passed to
Yeah.
Right.
provide for this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good,
But that's the idea.
yeah.
good.
All right, well, we'll go with that, good discussion, and that's why we're gonna read it a couple times. Let's see what that looks like to you at the next meeting, and we'll go from there. So, with that, that takes us to the end of our agenda, and we are adjourned.